The pulling for a block, okay? Remember back in the day we used to say, oh, if you have one leg pulling, you can make that leg block? Isn't it being stuck out there?
Oh, yeah.
Just checking my memory. But so I'm in plow, right, or hubris, and when my opponent invariably tries to hit me here, I'm not even fighting anything now, it's just plow. I'm just plow and waiting, receiving, right? I come up, and now it's blocking any angle here, any angle here. More importantly, what I'm hoping is that it catches and comes down here and stops on the pulling.
So what I would do is like this.
Just by doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I made a clone block. And again, the thing about the clone block, especially if they're coming straight down, is if you don't get that clone high enough, right? And if it's parallel enough, right? Gotta hit you. So it's a bit of a gamble on making sure you get that up there. But once you get that up there, you cut. Here. I'm using back edges, but you don't necessarily use back edges, but it's here and then cut.
So you fully rotated 180 in your hands.
I did. You saw me doing that.
Yeah.
You saw that. I talked to you guys about that. I usually did. Another feint, right? So a lot of times when we talk feints, you guys should always keep in kind of the back of your head the most fundamental feints, however you're actually creating them with your weapons in your hands and your body position. The most fundamental level of a feint is you do a thing to make your opponent think you're going high, and you go low. You make them think you're going low, you go high. Right? You take a shoulder drop, feint, low, high. So one of my little favorite cuts that I get longsword fighters with all the time, and I like you guys to show this, is so when you step in, you immediately are saying to your opponent, this guy's got some mox, right? When I step in and raise up, right, I'm saying this is serious on the high side, right? So that's my feint, right? That's my stop attack, that's my feint. My high here, and then hip, right? Okay, so the way that works, you have to have real supple hands. And I didn't close my hands like I was talking about because you don't have to. But I come in, and this is a closer attack on purpose, right? Because if I go like this, they go, that's a block. It's no big deal, right? There's no fear created in your opponent, right? I'm starting to call these things shadow weaknesses too. That's a whole other class. But remember I talked about tags and like names for things? But I come in, and then as I rotate, see how that's already coming down to get towards that horizontal to finish? Underneath their hands, then you've got to get on the You have that conversation. Yeah, okay. So it's not necessarily a core match, but it's closer, right? Okay. Because if you're not close, it's literally just a extended range horizontal hip cut, which works too, right? But that's not controlling my opponent by doing that whole thing, right?
They're going to hit you in the head.
Huh?
They're going to hit you in the head.
Exactly. Yeah. Another thing that happens is I was talking, and we've all done this. Everybody here who's done heavy longsword is, and this happens all the time. Can't do too, by the way. Is like what I call like the clench position, right? You're in here, you're in slide, now you're here, and I'm like, well, if I back up, he's really going to hit me. And he's saying, if I back up, he's really going to hit me. So we both stay here and have this clinch kind of thing, right? So that's what I just showed for that being cut. Also works here, because as I go high, right, I'm not even trying to grab, right? But as I go high, he's like, well, if he stays low, that gives me the opening. So he's naturally going to go high, and then, right? See how I backed up just a little bit with my back foot to gain some of that distance, but that foot didn't change, right? Because if I do it like this, easily going to go.
He sees it. He sees it.
And he sees it.
Down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's another hidden cut is that horizontal, and it's always directed at the hip. And sometimes I get it and it lands, I go, oh great, and just a moment afterwards I get hit in the head, and you're like, that was a leg. Ow! It's supposed to be a hip. That's where we but yeah. So thanks for the reminder. So that's the lift control. What was the word that y'all used this time?
Chrome. Because you go through the sound.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that's the yard. Yeah.
Yeah. You're thinking when you do this, right? I'm not going to let this crack. Okay. I want to check that thing. So you're going to say that you
Come here. Something's not right. Come here. It came out. It was in.
You're thinking when you do this, how's it feel, natural? No. But it doesn't feel like it at all. I would have felt it.
So I think we're also need first to do this. What do you want to do again? Press on the arm and don't know what it is.
I wanted to talk just real briefly, like literally like 2 minutes, about offline footwork attacks. We did some of these, but when you hear me talk about it, you start thinking about offline attacks. Right? So if I'm here, right, here's our center, right? But I'm coming offline, right? Because I want to make it harder for me to hit because I'm moving, right? I'm moving first or simultaneously in a way that might not be predictable to my foe, right? And it's getting me to a position where I might have an opportunity, right? So the offline attacks are, remember we talked about the X and the plus? The offline attacks are literally the X movements. They're forward and back, right? So if I'm here and he comes at me, and then we get blocked offline, so that kind of sidestep, and then over here, right? Or I can go here, and he's coming at me still, right? Right? Okay. I'm moving backwards to gain advantage. Most guys don't get that in their heads. Backwards is just as strong in the attack as forward. It's just there's a receiving involved. But it's setting up my opponent in their lizard brain. It's setting up in their lizard brain. I have the advantage. I'll win if I just keep attacking. Right? And sometimes that's absolutely true, which is why we do it. And sometimes you're like, oh, how did that just happen? Right? Okay? But think about it a little bit now. We're getting ready to do some sparring. So we're thinking a little bit about the lines of attack, the footwork, the movements, both forwards and backs. Right? And you can do the steppings, the passing, flow, all those things we worked out. Right? Or just be an oak tree. We're smart. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want, right? But there's the outlines, the forwards and the backs, and then there's also a corollary to those offlines, which is what I've always called the J attack, right? So the J attack is somewhat forward, maybe on an angle, right? And then we did some of it. Without defining it, and then that's the J. It's the bottom of the J. See the J? So I come in and go that way, or I come in and we go that way, or I back up and go that way. See the reverse J? Okay? Understand? Right? So if I'm doing a J attack to previous, right? Because I'm initiating, so he has to receive, right? I come in and I say, okay, I'm out. He's not dead, and now I'm not happy being there. That's the J. In with the attack, out with that, get out of range. Okay? All right. So really, we're going to have good shoulder armor,
and it auto stopped on
something that at least protects the points of your shoulders, the bony bits, right? I like my burgundy because it comes down low enough that shooting at hips is all that titanium. It's a Papa special.
Yeah.
Right? So some of the guys are buying the Lemingtons and stuff, which are the shorter 15th century versions. I go, man, I'm gonna hit that guy. He's got no armor there. He's got gams in and the leg and blah blah blah, right? Doesn't mean I would, but where my brain goes. So you want to make sure you have some dangly bit or some kind of coverage for hips. Bigger guys can get hit in the hips and have a bone and meat that usually isn't bad when they're bruised. We talked a little bit about what's better than what you have to have your art doing this. First and foremost, it's got to be protected, and then you already got the neck.
Well, it went straight down, so it did its job, but it went
I got that from Brothers the other day, fighting Chris. So yeah,
it did its job, very fine, but it's all jammed up.
yeah.
You're right. Do you feel yourself at this stage to be as effective now fighting Longsword as you were with your sword and shield?
Whoa.
I'm asking.
Yeah, no, so that's the question. So the answer to that is no, but it's as close as it's ever been. Okay? So if all my opponents are longsword, then the answer is yes. Right? But, or polearm. Polearm acts on longsword, then I would say yes. But as soon as you throw the sword and shield guys back into that mix, right, so bring your best, right, not matched or whatever, right? I'm still working out how to really beat those. Yeah, it's a 2-year new sword and shield guy, not a big deal, right? You know? But it's and by the way, so one of the reasons why we love longsword or greatsword, right, is because we're all roots in our heart of hearts, right? We just like to swing hard, and fundamentally hit hard too, right? When you're fighting, so often when we're in years past when we're fighting longsword, that's the main goal. Right? That's the main goal. Now, the main goal is going to be that added with these cool techniques and all these other pieces that make my opportunities for victory or better defense and getting hit less a lot higher, right? When we're fighting longsword to longsword, we are literally training ourselves how to fight just good against a longsword. Right, so if we pull a longsword up and all we do is fight a longsword fighter, all we're doing is training to be better against a longsword. And that's fine, it's the choices you make, right? But if a polearm guy comes out and you've never fought against a polearm, you're like, ah, Jesus, now I gotta figure this out, right? Well, you gotta practice that some, right? Sword and shield comes out. Now that's how you learn how to be the best longsword fighter you can be. Because they have barn doors and we don't, right? And it makes us remember movement, right? So if I'm fighting a sword and shield guy longsword and this is the size of the list, I'm not allowed legally in the NCAA to do the things I would do in a battlefield competition. If you got that close to me. If you got that close to me, right? So I got to use some of the footwork to try not to get caught in the corner and, blah, 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 do all those kind of things. If you have a bigger field, you can use more footwork, and then you move it out and retreat and all that stuff. It gets a little bit easier, right? And that's what I recommend, by the way, for if you're ever fighting somebody longsword against sword and shield, if you have more, I mean, you guys do, you're awesome players, then you're using the backups and the backouts, right? When they stop and then you come in, right? But understanding those high angles that go over the shield and those back edge body cuts, right? And the back to a counter or the one-handed face right, those things. Those are all things that you really hone the best against a sword and shield player. Okay? So I guess what I'm saying is you really want to get good by sword and shield guys. If you want to get good and have more enjoyable time, fight with a longsword or a polearm, not a sword and shield guy, right? But they balance. Okay. Helmets. This is the last piece, and then we'll get going. So, I have 3 Bassinets. 2 of them are closed face, one of them is a bar grill. The bar grill I bought specifically for training in heavy armor, mostly longsword, so that I could last longer on the training field because I could breathe better and I could see better. Right? When you can't breathe very well, then your stamina's down. That's obvious, right? Okay. But if you can't see very well, okay, like I have a blood face. Yeah, visor with all the, late 14th, early 15th century perked visor, and that thing breathes at about 85% level of that, so pretty good. The vision sees at about 70% of that. Once I get used to the fact that you don't look at the inside of it, you just look through it, but it disappears. But in this type of a helmet, when you have a bar drill that gives you all that vision, you're able to, with practice, you're able to self-judge what you did right and wrong because you had the full field of vision to see it. You're afraid of the wall, I don't want to step on that, and I can't run into that person, and you see them all, right? That's good too. But from a training, skills, increase methodology, you see it all, then you can self-judge yourself better, right? Okay. As I got into this turn, I got hit here, and I realized it's because when I step, instead of my sword staying with me, you see this little Longsword, right? And it popped back, and then I was like, oh, I gotta do the block, and I'm late to the block because I just where did my sword go? Oh, wow, it's on this weird angle, I'm catching it in the peripheral, right? So there you go. Greaves are only important if you don't like getting hit by blocks that drive stuff into your legs or new people that accidentally hit you too low. Says CA. Footwork's kind of weird because you can get points by hitting anywhere, so they have a thing where if you've seen that, it's pretty silly. But if you don't have greaves on, you basically are not fighting anymore that day. I have some really cool videos that I can bring them today. Questions about armor or ready to start going? So I think what we'll do is we'll, for sparring, let's spar no more than 3 sets at a time. So one kind of here, one kind of in this area, one on that side. We'll see if there's enough room. I think there's going to do another set here. Does that make sense? So for the sparring, we're going to do the point system I was describing, right? Everybody hear that? Right? 2 points is a win. Wounds are 1, so 2 arms is a win. Arm and leg is a win. When we're fighting, say Kat and I are fighting, we do an exchange, one of us wins. We'll fight again, so 2 out of 3 maybe, right? And then we'll switch. Okay? Now one of us will say, oh, yeah, I'll take a 2-minute break or whatever, and somebody come in, right? And then 2 out of 3, and then one that didn't go out when I went out, that guy goes out. Okay, so we kind of have this rotation. Okay, so the rotation's got to be pretty minimal if we don't mix up the groups going this way, right? So just kind of pay attention to that. Anybody who's not fighting when there's fighting going on, but are prepping and ready in the queue to fight, your job is to be constable. Watch for armor bits falling off, thrusting tip, going bad. It's the deal. Keep from the windows, people getting too close to the windows, that kind of thing. Running into tables over here or whatever the case is, right?
Running into Runa.
Don't run. Yeah. Hey, Grace, when you talk about the points one more time, so if I get hit in the arm, that's 1 point. Do I actually lose that arm?
No, we're not giving up any of the targeted strikes. We're just saying, you hit me, that was good, you have 1 point.
Okay.
Right?
Are we resetting after that?
Huh?
Resetting after those single points?
Always reset. Yeah, well, with the possible exception of if you're in a big flurry. It's arm, head, that's the thing. Yeah.
Regular SCA.
Huh?
Regular SCA rules for that.
I think so, yes. That's So yeah, all the targeting is all that stuff. This is all that stuff. If you get hit light, tell your opponent, hey, I thought that was light. Right? Okay? And a light, this may or may not happen, but one of you guys might hit me and I might be like, well, that was light. You're going to be like, wow, I thought that was good. It's like, well, in my practice, that would be just light. And I'll take it, I don't care. You know what I mean? And it really isn't about hitting too hard. It's about, let's use the proper body turning, scissors, snapping, cutting techniques. Like you were doing a little bit earlier with the tag defense, you weren't swinging quite as hard because I asked you not to, right? at the end of the day, this isn't about who wins and loses, this is about learning techniques. And winning and losing is your own ego practice or your own tournament thing.